Hey y'all, these are my latest pickups from the thrift store here. I got some tapes, a couple CDs, and some LPs from a local thrift store that sells items for half price on the weekends. And the total bill came to $9 and some change. So I got a really good deal here on about 18 items actually. So 50 cents an item. Can't beat that, especially with some of the good stuff that I picked up here. So first thing I got here is Dukes of Dixieland, and the phenomenal Dukes of Dixieland, that is, Volume 2. You got to hear it to believe it. Dukes of Dixieland are not only one of the most ubiquitous Dixieland jazz bands of the 50s, but they're also one of the very best. They're really quite good. They're one of the bands that I first started to collect and listen to, and I always pick up stuff that I can find of theirs if I don't already have it. And sometimes I'll pick up a duplicate or three. Some great tracks on here. Sweet Georgia Brown, everyone knows that is the Harlem Globetrotters theme. Mockingbird, Mama Don't Low, My Blue Heaven, which is just a classic, one of my favorite songs. What do we got here? Limehouse Blues, Chic of Araby, Dill Pickle Rag, Slide Frog Slide. I'm not familiar with that. Then, of course, Basin Street Blues and Ain't She Sweet, two other classics. It's on the Audio Fidelity label. I didn't know they put out tapes, so this is pretty cool to find. This is one of their signature groups, actually, and their LPs are of the highest quality. They're very good, both in the art and the sound quality. That's pretty simplistic. No track listing or anything. This is USA Materials, made in Mexico. This is an old cassette, I think. 70s, I'm guessing. See if I can focus on that, maybe not. Nice little thing. Okay. It's held together with screws, so it is repairable if it happens to be broken, but it seems to be in really good condition. So, excited for that. I can never have too much Dixieland. At least I can't. Now we have Roar Knudsen. Good old Roar Knudsen. Never heard of this guy. No, it's Roar Knudsen in the White House Band. I'm thinking this guy is from Sweden. Because this looks very Swedish to me. He's obviously an accordion player. This is his tape. I'm sure he does, like, dinner shows or something at some restaurant. It's from '93, which is very recent. And there's a couple of standards in here. Misty, Place in the Sun. I thought there was one more too. The Streets of Laredo. I'm not really sure if I know that one. But he even has an original composition or three on here. Maybe two. Stress Polka sounds pretty awesome. So anyways, and this is cool too. There's a business card in here. Don't know what Rosemaler is. Maybe it's a restaurant. I have no idea. Ryukin. I don't know how to say that. There's a sticker on it. Roar Knudsen, roar. Okay. That one's going to be an interesting listen. The tape looks really good. It's in good shape. Okay, then we have two discs here by the same group. Yeah, they are the same group, but it's funny because they have two different names. So one is called Blackhawks, and the other is called Blackhawk. I've never heard of this before. Blackhawks is the older recording. Blackhawk is the newer. You can even see here 91 and 93. Now, obviously, this is the guy here. I'm assuming this guy goes by the name Blackhawk. If you're not familiar, Blackhawk is a famous Sauk Indian chief who fought in a war with Abraham Lincoln, amongst others, prior to the American Civil War. And he's actually quite infamous around these parts in Wisconsin. Illinois, Iowa, and the like. And I picked this up because it looks interesting. I'm guessing it's some sort of rock, I hope. And it's also from Wisconsin. It's from Mazomanie, Wisconsin. So the main guy here is named Richard Kapusta. Not a very native sounding name, but there's a lot of marriage and stuff. The guy looks pretty badass. Look at here. He's got his long hair and his beard and feather in his hair. Wish I looked that cool, that's for sure. So, anyways. So I thought maybe this would be a solo one, but no, it's not. It's actually the full band. Same guys. Nothing on the inside. Good looking 90s tape. It's in great shape. On some label, what was it called? Something or other. Cat label, something. Well, this one isn't on much of a label. Oh, yeah. Manufactured in Tennessee. Laughing Cat Studio. So, interested to see what that is. Who knows? They had a King Missile CD. I used to own this. I didn't have it anymore in my collection, so I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta pick this up again. King Missile, if you're not familiar, is most famous for a certain song that came out in the 90s about a detachable body part, and that song is not on this CD though, but this is a really good and interesting CD. This band is they're like a rock band, like a heavy hard rock band, and with their vocalist is like a poet, but he is a very sort of disturbed and disturbing sort of poet, but he's a very excellent poet. His lyrics are extremely they have a really nice sound. He's not the greatest singer. He's a good singer, but he doesn't have the best voice, I think I should say. But King Missile is a very unique and entertaining band. This one has some classics on it. Love Is, What If are both really good. Tongue has been stuck in my head because I've been listening to it. The Commercial is a bizarre and entertaining song, if ever there was one. The CD's in my van right now. It's in really good shape. Full lyric book. Maybe we can see a sample of weird lyrics. Here's Tongue. Come on. Okay. There's King Missile. I love the painting on the cover too. It's really good. And the CD's in perfect condition. Okay. So that was 50 cents well spent. Okay, this is cool. This is an old Sierra Quest game. Eco Quest. This is definitely one of their lesser known titles, but I do remember seeing this in the catalogs, the Sierra catalogs back in ye old days. And this is a game. It's a story of a young boy who's a scuba diver in his search to find some whale named Cetus. And I actually used to get this confused with Echo the Dolphin, the Genesis game, when I was a kid. Because there's dolphins and there's eco in the name and all that stuff. Comes with the manual. I'm assuming maybe there's digitized voices and music on this CD, which is pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to pop it in yet. I find it unlikely that my computer is going to be able to run it, so I might have to hook up one of my old computers for a lot of these old computer programs I've been picking up lately. It's classic adventure game style, Sierra style, VGA, EGA graphics. And this one, I haven't heard about this one in many, many, many years, well over 20 years. I love that picture there. Oh yeah, I remember calling that line when I was a kid. So yeah, this is actually, the CD was released in '92. Very early for a CD-ROM, very early. 1992, Sierra Online. Okay, and now let's check out the LPs I picked up. This one, a song, well, okay, I'll just leave it down there. A song of the Cumberland Gap, in the days of Daniel Boone. This is a National Geographic Society release on their sort of typical nice gatefold with booklet and copious artwork and liner notes, which is always awesome to get. During the 70s, they put out a whole slew of records like this. I've never actually seen a catalog of them to see what they all are, but I found several, and they've all been quite good. So look at this fantastic watercolor and pencil drawing on the cover. Got this guy playing the violin, these people dancing. Who's that? That looks like Daniel Boone. And this guy playing a gnarly old lute. Let's see the back. Guy playing a mandolin, or what the hell is that thing called? I can't think of it right now. There's the mandolin, fiddle. This is a dulcimer. He's playing a dulcimer, and he's picking it with a feather, which is really cool, or a quill. So the thing about this is I thought it would be like a collection of historical songs, but I was looking at it earlier and I realized it's actually like a play about the colonization of Kentucky, which is really interesting, though the music, who knows if it's any good or not. I'm assuming it's not terrible, but it might not be great either. I just don't know until I listen to it, which I haven't done yet. This is a nice painting. This is supposedly Daniel Boone leading the these settlers through the Cumberland Gap into Kentucky. So, in addition to the awesome gatefold and cover artwork, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 page insert with a map and photographs and paintings. It also comes with a really nice sleeve that has all the lyrics and attributions. This is also the only place where the songs are listed. So there's not really anything that I'm familiar with here, and this is how I realized that this is like a play. So that's interesting. Starring Daniel Boone. When I was a kid, I loved Daniel Boone, so... And, oh, there's some schmutz on it, but the record is in great shape. Okay, next we have Bill Monroe Sings Country Songs. Bill Monroe is, of course, the super famous, one of the originators of the bluegrass style, one of just amazing mandolin players of all time. There's Mr. Monroe right there with his little mandolin. Okay, yeah, here's the back of the release. Nothing special here, just a Vocalion catalog, basically, and a track list. Not many tracks I'm very familiar with here. A lot of sort of traditional Southern songs, I'm assuming, and original compositions. Newer ones, Jimmy Rogers, Bill Monroe, obviously. Actually, these are all sort of new compositions, but I am familiar with Peach Pickin' Time in Georgia, and that's about it. So this is exciting. A lot of new stuff to learn. The record is pretty beat up. Big, huge scratch. Wow, I didn't even realize that. That is a humongous scratch. That is going to make that track basically garbage. Wow. This is beat to hell. But, oh well. It's still Bill Monroe. Okay, this record is interesting. The Chmielewski Funtime. Chmielewski Funtime presents Polkas for Heaven's Sake. Bicentennial edition. So this is great. So I I collect polka records and political records, and I collect anything that has to do with the Bicentennial. So this is sort of all three of those issues, and of course the Chmielewski. That's the, I can't think of his name. Florian, not Myron Florin, but Florian Chmielewski is, of course, the polka senator from Minnesota. So this guy has a family polka band, and he's a senator from Minnesota. And I have another one of his records that's something like The Singing Senator or something like that, with his family band. And it's very amateur, but charming, I suppose. I'm assuming this is a later album. The kids look older, and I think this doesn't really play up his senator position very much. But it's obviously patriotic, and it looks like maybe the A side is more of a patriotic and sort of secular track list, and then the B side is very much a sort of gospel track list. So this should be interesting. I don't know much gospel polka, and I'm actually quite excited to hear the Battle Hymn of the Republic polka. That sounds pretty awesome. So here's the Chmielewskis. Chmielewski hanging out. And here's the description if you want to pause it and read it. Yeah, this is funny too. Somebody put this in their Rocke album sleeve. They sacrificed their Rocke album to protect the Chmielewskis. And that's pretty average quality. It's dirty, but it's not scratched up. So that's good. Definitely been played many times. So somebody liked this record. Okay, up next we have Wunderbar music by the Deutchmeisters, featuring Tony Wolf on the concertina, on Peasant Records. I actually have a couple of their records. It's a polka label out of Minnesota. Pleasant Peasant, what do we got here? Pleasant Peasant Polka album, number LP 10563. Let's zoom in. There they are. It looks like a family band, mostly. You see Mom and the boys, and there's Dad. Tony Wolf on the concertina. These bands are great. I mean, there's always something interesting here. This is actually pretty cool. You can see their other albums on top of the amp there on the right. So it acts as an easy catalog for them. And I love the aluminum foil wallpaper behind them. You don't see that every day. Very futuristic. And they have bandstands and everything. So what do we got here? Like I said, this is out of Minneapolis in Minnesota. It's Wunderbar music. Let me see here. The Deutchmeisters. Awesome logo too. That gothic script. Oh, what do we got here? Ripsaw, Buckshaw, Shotish. That sounds pretty cool. Lobo, Stomp. I like Stomps. Little Jumping Jack Polka. Elmer's Landler. Joe's Mazurka. I think I've heard that before. I mean, I think I have it on another album. Another fine collection of polkas and waltzes by the Deutchmeisters, featuring, of course, Tony Wolf on concertina and wife Betty on piano. This great old-time band was honored at the Ballroom Operators Convention in 1963 as one of the most popular bands of the year. We are sure that as you listen to this music, to this album, you will agree, here is truly Wunderbar music. Distributed by Studio City Record Corporation, Nicolay Avenue in Minneapolis. Let's see here. There it is. Pleasant Peasant. That's their signature album sticker with that old sort of French horn looking instrument there. The Deutchmeisters and Tony Wolf on concertina. Neato keen. Okay, up next, popular dance rhythms on Hudson High Fidelity Records, featuring the Hudson Dance Orchestra conducted by Judson. And our cover model here is Carol Haney. So, you might be asking, why did you buy this record? Well, a couple of reasons. For one, of course, we have our beautiful cover model here. But also, I do collect dance instruction records because I find them to be very interesting, and you only find them every once in a while, and I've never seen the same one twice. And so you see here, this is all separate sort of dance songs here. So we've got, hold on a second. Okay, we've got the fire dance, saber dance, sailor's dance, carry dances, lucky dance, macabre dance, dagger dance, war dance, highbriggers dance, and Mexican dance. Honestly, any of those song titles would be likely to make me buy a record, so it's just even more interesting to get the whole package here. On the back, it's just a catalog with a bunch of different stuff on this record label out of New Jersey, West New York, New Jersey. Looks like some classical, some show music, and miscellaneous popular music. I see some Dixieland, stuff like that, polkas, you know, the regulars. This is one of those envelope style sleeves. You can see here that it's folded and glued along the side here instead of on the inside. I think these are more budget type sleeves, but they do the trick. They've obviously held up, actually, and they seem to maybe hold up better than the square cut ones that the more expensive records use. So the disc itself is in very good shape. Very, very good shape. It actually has no discernible spindle marks, but it's also printed directly on the plastic. There's no label, which is interesting. And this is a very, I don't even know if this is vinyl. You can hear it. It's a very stiff plastic. It probably has that, like a lot of 45s are made out of this similar material. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's a PVC. But you can hear it, like it makes sort of a whining noise or like a resonating noise as the needle runs over it. But this isn't music for listening. This is music to be played over a stereo in a dance hall while people are, you know, dancing. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, you know what I mean. Okay, next up we have Honky Tonk Classics, played by Andy Plymouth Rocke. So one thing you'll see if you watch my channel is that I collect honky tonk and barrel house style piano records, which was a huge fad in the 50s and the 60s. It's basically people replicating this supposedly nostalgic sound of barroom pianos from the 20s and the teens, with people playing, with professors and ticklers playing ragtime music and stride piano. And some of them, like this particular one, take classical piano music and play it in the same ragtime and honky-tonk style. So this one, I love, love, love the cover art here. We've got Mozart, Beethoven, Schubert, and Brahms. And this guy has got a mustache that ironically is probably more in style today than it was when this record was made. And I love the piano, just sort of cubist in the way that it's drawn with the with the keys facing forward like this, but just beautiful. I wish that there wasn't this pitting in the printing, but it's on Spinorama. It's high fidelity, supposedly. So what do we have here? Oh, and there's a spittoon. There's almost always a spittoon on the cover of one of these records. So let's take a look, see what do we have. There's our man, Andy Plymouth Rocke. There's the busts of his muses here. There's a Spinorama logo. He missed the piano, it looks like. Here's a track list. Fantasy Impromptu, Liebestrom, Barker Roll. Let's look at the back. Okay. Here we go. Spinorama Records. $3.98 value, now only $1.49. I would pay $1.49 for this record, brand new. I definitely would. Love this illustration, very bizarre illustration, track list, and some description here. Nice technical data here. I love records that have that. Oh, here's a description of what Honky Tonk is, which a lot of these records have the same sort of spiel on the back. So, Honky Tonk, descriptive of a musical style, at least in the lexicon of today, was at the turn of the century and during the years immediately prior to and following World War I, applied to the new ragtime music when played in the less reputable establishments. Eventually it was applied as a descriptive term to music when played, specifically on a piano, with a particularly unique dissonance, a somewhat tinny sound. Honky Tonk piano was established itself as a minor classic as of today. Such was the quotation which caused major cerebration on the part of our A&R man. Immediately he ran to the nearest dictionary to establish the accepted meaning of classic. Belonging to the first class or rank in literature or art. Also, pertaining to standard and authoritative principles and forms in art, literature, music, etc. Eureka! Here, he had always thought classic was just that long-haired jazz, and all the time he'd been steeped in a classic idiom. Now he really got to cooking. Now, for instance, suppose you were going to take some of that long-haired jazz and create honky-tonk arrangements. What then? No sooner said than perpetrated. QED, this record, a selected list of classical favorites interpreted in honky-tonk style. With this record, we feel honky-tonk has come of age. You're welcome for reading that to you. I don't know why I just did. Yeah. Honky-tonk classics. Okay, ooh, I love that. Forgot about that little filigree there. The record is in perfect condition. Except for one scratch on the back. It doesn't look too bad. No. One spindle hole, or one spindle mark on the back. Spindle hole. Other than that, it's in beautiful condition. Let's see if I can get a rainbow. Hold on. No, not tight enough for a rainbow. Let's do this. If I didn't scratch it up myself, it's in pretty good shape. Lucky me! Frankie Carle, great honky-tonk piano favorites. That looks like Mr. Carl, Frankie himself, there, playing the piano, smoking a cigar, and smiling at you. Hey. Frankie. Why, hello there, Missy. Wait, no spittoon. Oh well. This says it's been electronically reprocessed, which tells me this is probably a reissue on RCA Camden. Well, it looks like the album's called Great Honky Tonk Piano Favorites. Laughter and fun and deep down tearjerkers. Ever wonder why the honky tonk piano player in gay 90s and western movies always has his coat off and hat on the as he tattoos the keyboard? We don't know why either, but we suspect that it's all part of the natural abandon, spontaneity, and disdain of formality that's the very essence of honky tonk music itself. This is no white tie and tails album. This is a piano playing with no holds, moods, or tempos barred. You play 'em as you feel 'em, and the more unfettered and uninhibited you feel, the bouncier and gayer the music comes out. Gayer. So what do we got here? Track list. Nobody's Sweetheart Memories. Frankie Carle rag. He's ragging the Swanee River. I wonder who's kissing her now. Alexander's Ragtime Band. My son's theme song. And the Old Piano Roll Blues. Pretty standard honky tonk piano album. Definitely good to add it to the collection. RCA Camden, definitely a reissue. This is definitely one of their newer labels that I've ever seen. In beautiful condition. A few spindle marks, but not too bad. No scratches that I can see. Wonderful condition. Excellent. Frankie Carle, Great Honky Tonk Piano Favorites. Okay, here we have Johnny Maddox presents the world's greatest piano rolls. Dot Ultra Stereophonic Recording on Dot Records. Recorded from his private collection of player piano rolls. So here's Johnny Maddox. He's a one of the many honky tonk piano dudes from the 50s. One of the best. Definitely a really good guy. I believe he's still alive to this very day, if I'm not mistaken. He was a young guy back then. And he is, apparently, according to this album and other albums in this series that I have, was a avid collector of piano rolls, which he found to be one of the best ways to learn from the original masters of the turn of the century. The turn of the 19th century, that is, the original raggers, who oftentimes recorded rolls, piano rolls of their own compositions. So we've got some of the classics of all time. 12th Street Rag, Darktown Strutter's Ball, Maple Leaf Rag, Society Blues, Nola, 5'2". So that's some excellent material here. So this is just a recording. He's not actually playing it. It's a recording of him putting piano rolls through his player piano. And like I said, I believe this is volume 1, and I'm pretty sure the other one that I have right now is volume 2. The other one is really good, so I'm quite excited to hear this one. This would be my 5th or 6th piano roll album that I found, and they're really interesting and fantastic sort of piece of history. Now, for those of you in the know, you'll know that piano rolls are sort of the ancestors of computers in a way. So that's very interesting, is it not? I think it is. And you know, modern sequencers and electronic music sort of computer programs basically work in the same exact way that a piano roll did. So that's really interesting, if you ask me. So I'm not going to read everything on the back. You can pause it if you want to see it. There's Mr. Maddox, and then here's there's a little mini catalog on the back. I have this album. I picked up this one, which you'll see now, and I also have this one here. There's several others here that I don't have yet, so the record collector's job is never done, so there's more to find. That's Johnny Maddox. The World presents the world's greatest piano rolls. Okay, here we have Johnny Maddox plays The Million Sellers. Again, on DOT, stereophonic, ultra high fidelity. The cover's kind of nice. It's actually a generic cover. You'll see on the back even there's an advertisement for another album that uses the same color with different typesets on it. But it's not a bad design. I like how the sort of sits on top of the I and the L here. That's actually kind of interesting. And the sort of abstract, sort of Tetris-like shapes here, and the orange and the yellow and the red color. It's nice. It's definitely not ugly, but it's, you know, it's not that great. Okay, I actually do like the back cover a little bit more, just because of this awesome sort of I don't know, waterfall of 45s. It was obviously just like a Xerox copy of the same image, but I like how the designer laid it out, making it look very random. There's Mr. Maddox right there, and here he's in this album. He's actually playing. He's playing the piano. And what do we have here? We have Beer Barrel Polka, Yellow Rose of Texas, My Happiness, Oh Johnny, Oh Johnny, Oh Johnny. That's a great song. Rockabye Your Baby with a Dixie Melody, You Always Hurt the One You Love. I'm not familiar with all those tunes, but I trust Mr. Maddox to rag them well, as it were. See what they have to say. First time round, each song in this album was a million-seller record. The acme of success in the world of popular music. Okay, so these were popular tunes from back in ye olden days. Probably on 78 RPM records in the 20s and 30s. Johnny Maddox began his ragtime reign as a youth in Gallatin, Texas, where he developed not only phenomenal keyboard technique, but also a thorough knowledge of old-time piano styles and a truly prodigious repertoire of songs. So that's awesome. Here's your important stereophonic information from Dot Records. And we also have a mini catalog at the bottom. This is that other album, Billy Vaughn, using the same generic cover that this one uses. And we see that Ragtime 1917-1918 album, which is the first, which is actually a really good Johnny Maddox record. That was the first one I picked up. It's more traditional ragtime, which I really like. And some of the other same albums. This one I like, Ragtime Melodies. I haven't seen that one ever, but I love the cover. So let's check out the album. Here it is on Dot. Regular sort of black label. In good shape. Not even too dirty. A lot of fingerprints, but no scratches. No scratches at all. In fact, it even looks like it's been cleaned. It has some water residue on it, so that's cool. 50 cents well spent, if you ask me. Johnny Maddox plays The Million Sellers. Here's Honky Tonk Piano, High Fidelity, on Strand Records. Strand LP 1066. Talk about generic. I don't think you could get more generic than this. Looks to me like it's supposed to be maybe the window of a saloon. Here's a curtain and there's a sign. It's a window of a honky tonk and they have a piano. I don't know. Oh, it looks, it's signed by the designer, Levine. But the pink color is definitely eye-catching. Sort of like, what is that, Frigid Pink. It's like that Frigid Pink LP. It honestly reminds me of like an old sort of like Japanese video game for some reason. I don't know why. But, you know, hey, I kind of like it. It's an interesting font there. Hand drawn, but consistent. The N is consistent across, and all the letters are pretty consistent. That's cool. Very simple other than that. And there, look, it's signed. You don't see that very often. Okay, let's check out the back. Well, what do you know? It's generic. Fingers O'Rourke. I wonder if that's his real name. One thing about these records is there was a lot of records put out by the same sort of smallish pool of session musicians, and they'd always come up with some silly name, like all sorts of different names for the musician. Fads in music come and go. Throughout the years, there have been certain types of music that have enjoyed a temporary popularity. However, no music has lasted as long or will continue to maintain its popularity as much as the honky-tonk barroom sound. Every library of recordings must include a honky-tonk piano album to be complete. You heard it here, folks. Get out there, get to your thrift store, and buy some honky-tonk albums. Otherwise, your record collection will not be complete. What songs do we have here? In the Good Old Summertime, Rosie O'Grady, Wait Till the Sun Shines Nellie, In My Merry Oldsmobile, In the Shade of the Old Apple Tree, Sweet Adeline. Almost all hits on the B-side. And we also have technical data, which is always great. How come albums don't include technical data anymore? That's what I'm wondering. Recorded at Jay-Zena Sound Studios, 143 51st Street, West 51st Street. The Woodblock Solos by Ray Alexander were recorded. Wow. So, wow, that's cool. Join in a real musical treat as Fingers O'Rourke really tickles the ivories as only he can in this honky-tonk piano. Split, but that's pretty much to be expected. Ooh, this is a dirty boy. It's heavy, it's plastic, it's covered in fingerprints. This is one of the people that just grabs their albums like this. Greasy potato chip fingers, man, all over this thing, but it's not scratched up. So they loved this album, but they were a dirty person, probably drunk, as well they should be. That's Honky Tonk Piano on Strand Records. Yeah, it's Honky Tonk Hits by the Dozen with Frankie Carle, his piano and his orchestra on RCA Victor. So here's Mr. Frankie Carle again. I actually don't have any other albums by this guy, but I picked up 2 this week. It's the same guy on the cover, so I'm assuming maybe that's actually him. I haven't looked him up yet. But there he is with his signature cigar and his plaid shirt and his big smile and his gray hair and whatnot. Looks like he's actually playing the piano too. So I don't know what is there to say about this. I like the font and the colors up here, but it's honestly a little hard to see. I don't really love this sort of brown color. Nice photograph, very nice photograph. Though I don't really like. Well, I guess it's cropped like this. It's what should I say? It's composed like this so you can see his hands. This big blank spot is just sort of boring me. But let's take a look at the track list, shall we? So there's actually, 25 songs on this album, which is sweet. So 13 songs on side A, with some major hits on here that you can't go wrong with. Maple Leaf Rag, Rag Picker, Takes Two to Tango, Bill Bailey, In the Good Old Summertime. This one is interesting, Siribiribin, I've never heard of that. Little Dutch Mill, I'm not familiar. Kalamazoo. So there's some new ones to add to the repertoire here. And the Even Dozen. So 25 songs in all. My Baby Just Cares for Me, Blue Fantasy, Moonlight Cocktail, Honky Tonk Mountain. I've never heard of that. Get out those old records. Well, yes sir, I think I will. In the Shade of the Old Apple Tree. Is that on the A side too? And Honeysuckle Rose. Oh, that's a Fats Waller composition. That's cool. So there you go. Let's check out the B-side. Now, I'm going to assume, and I am assuming correctly, that these are not individual tracks, but rather medleys. So it looks like the medleys are 2 to 3 songs each. Well, it looks like 2 songs each. That's pretty standard. Sometimes, you'll have 4 or 5 songs in a medley, and it can be, hard to pick out them individually if you're not familiar with the songs. Cool design here. Eggs or eyeballs or something. Avocados. I don't know what those are. But I'm going to hurry up on this one. 1962, it says. Because my battery's dying in my camera and I want to get to my last LP. Good shape album. Good shape, good shape. Okay, last but not least. Come One, Come All! Hoot Tonight! Featuring Bud Dashel, Lynn Gold, the Gateway Singers, the Phoenix Singers, and the Modern Folk Quartet. This is a Hootenanny record. This was a big thing in the mid to late 60s. Sort of the major labels' attempt to jump on the folk music craze by putting out these Hootenanny records. Whenever I can find one, I pick it up because there's often some really good music on them. It sort of ranges from anything from straight up folk to old, sort of archaic folk music to pop music to bluegrass music. I mean, there's a real range there on a Hootenanny record. But this one is especially nice. Unfortunately, it's got this big tear, which sucks. There must have been a price tag there, but it's on Warner Brothers, by the way. But just love this painting on the cover. This is like some sort of like oil pastels or something, like crayons of some sort. I'm not even sure. You see, there's the dudes up on stage. Looks like the Smothers Brothers or something, honestly. One's playing the two guys playing the banjo, and that guy's got some sort of maybe a guitar, it looks like. Just a really nice painting. I like it anyway. Hoot Tonight! That's fantastic. Love the giant hoot and tonight and the exclamation point. That's really, really grabs you. So it's a compilation album is basically what it is. And so there's all these different people playing different songs. We've got Wars of Germany and Greenfields. Linstead Market, The Keeper and the Doe. Hound Dog by Lynn Gold. Ain't Nothing But A. And I don't know any of the other songs on here. Looks like some sort of, probably some more rockin' songs and some more hippie songs. Touchy-feely stuff. So, nice variety, I'm assuming. That's cool. Let's see what it says here. The special excitement of live folk artists performing before a jam-packed crowd. That's what happens at America's most popular new social institution, The Hoot. In Hoot Tonight, 5 of the most driving performing groups in folk music challenge each other with a brace of tunes apiece. The crowd does its part too, moving each of these artists on to some of the best performances of their lives. So, is this really a live album? I doubt it. It probably has fake applause and stuff, but maybe it is a real live album, but I doubt it. But maybe it is. But I doubt it. Bud Dashel and the Kinsmen. Spanish Melodies. The Phoenix Singers were part of the Belafonte Singers. Modern Folk Quartet. They were formed in '63. Young men with a new approach to folk music, singing their songs with the most modern of harmonies and interpretations. Probably means bluegrass. One can only hope. Or it means rock and roll, which would be even better. Hoot Tonight on Warner Brothers Records. Great shape. Beautiful condition. It's dusty. Couple smears. One tiny spindle mark. There's a weird square on it. This side is pristine. Wow. Looks unplayed. Look at that. There's the rainbow. That is gorgeous. That is some pure virgin vinyl right there. Alright, y'all. So that's my super long record haul. Hopefully you find that interesting. Oh wait, hold on. Not done yet. Comes with a sleeve. With some advertisements. These are fun to look at. This is a Warner one. You know, it's interesting to see all the different albums on here. Button Down Mind of Bob Newhart. I have that one. Here's a Joe Finger's Car. Honky Tonk. Ooh, here's an Exercise record. I have that Bob Newhart one also. What else we got? Roaring Twenties. That's sort of a very typical sort of trend type album. Swing Fever. And those are millions and millions of those things. Roaring Twenties again. Same model, maybe. This is definitely for mom and dad. Some pretty tame stuff here on this catalog. So, anyways, thanks y'all for watching this record haul. Stay tuned for many, many more. Bye.